Did you know that over 40% of college graduates never read or listen to a book again? We are huge advocates of self-development and reading books, but with being busy and on the go, we don't always have time to sit down and read a good book, which is why we love Audible.
Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks. They have over 200,000 audiobooks to choose from, as well as podcasts, guided wellness, and Audible originals. Get a free 30-day trial and get access to an unlimited selection to listen to while driving, in the gym, or doing all the things you need to do in your busy life. Visit www.audibletrial.com/thelookuppod. Again, that's www.audibletrial.com/thelookuppod. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Look Up podcast, which is so funny saying that. You guys, I think we've just tried doing this intro so many times that, you know what, we're just like, all that we can do is just be ourselves, because at the end of the day, that's all that we got. So We're excited. It's the second episode. We never even, I don't want to say I never even thought it would make it this far. I didn't even think that we would ever have episode 1 come out. Yeah. Here we are on episode 2. We are now recording. So for those of you listening, we are also now on YouTube, which is really cool. Yeah. So Roman's making a lot of crazy faces, but of course you'll see that. And it's just crazy that we're actually making that decision to just keep moving forward one little step at a time. And that's all that you can do, is just one step at a time. One more recording, one more episode, one more day of effort, one more hour of effort, one more minute of effort, one more minute of thoughtful thoughts, right? Making your thoughts very thoughtful and just making sure we're thinking about the right things when it comes to our life. And that's actually a big thing that we wanted to talk about today is, yes, our thoughts, but the power of the spoken word and how we speak, right?
Yeah, I think your thoughts first. Well, your thoughts obviously turn into words, and I'm a big believer in that. Everything that comes out of your mouth is by default a prayer, right? And
yeah, he always says this, you guys. If I'm complaining about something, he said, "Be careful, be careful. That's what you're praying for." Yeah, anything.
Yeah, whatever you believe. If you believe in God, hopefully you do. If you're tuning into this, I'd hope so that you are. And if you aren't, thank you for tuning into this. But whether it's the law of attraction, whether it's the universe, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, that's just pretty much how it works.
Right.
Whatever
Which
you
at the end of the day,
into your life, that's what you're going to get. Whatever you sow is what you're going to reap. Right?
Right. I just wanted to tap in really quick. At the end of the day, when you believe in law of attraction, you believe in the universe. Remember who created that?
Right.
God did. God did.
Right. I was in small group the other day, and this guy named Wes was in there, and he's just like, I just don't get when people are like, the universe is telling me, or I'm getting vibes or something like that, or, and he's just like, I don't get how people start worshiping the thing that God created. Like, dog, I created that. You know what I mean?
It's too funny, actually, if you think about it.
Like, imagine think about this. So we have a dog, right? We have a little dog named Audie. And imagine if Audie started to love her teddy bear that we gave her more than she loved us. Right.
Which she sometimes does.
Right. And it's right. If you're a dog parent, you can relate to this, but it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. But dogs are smart enough to love their humans more than they love their toys, right?
But we aren't.
But we are not.
So, not that we created Audie, but just as an example.
Just as an example, maybe if we had kids or something like that.
But it's important that we have to be really cautious of what we allow to come out of our mouths. And by no means am I saying I'm good at this. I am actually very, I won't say bad. Let's just say I'm working through it. See, even then I have to catch myself on my thoughts on it. I'm growing through it. And it's because it's easy to just let your mouth free flow, and just let whatever comes out come out. Because that's the easy thing to do. And it's also because of what we allow to come into our minds, who we hang out with, how they speak is how we tend to speak. What we listen to, whether that be other podcasts, music, YouTube videos, what we're watching on TV, how people interact in TV shows and movies, we tend to kind of copy and reflect the same thing. I was really into, I still am really into the Power series. So I'm very much
Big
on
shout out
top
to
of it.
50.
Yeah. Shout out 50, shout out Force. I actually love all of them. I'm not going to get into it because I can talk about it.
What's your favorite?
My favorite one, Raising Kanan. I'm obsessed with the Raising Kanan series. I think that is the best one that's come out, but debatable.
Y'all see how that energy changed.
But anyways, when I watch that, I'll come out of that. I don't know if you've ever have seen the show, but it's a really good show. But I'll come out of that talking like Tommy, and I'll get like that accent of that New York accent and start talking like crazy, like I'm some type of big drug dealer or something. And it's just because you're so used to just watching that we are just we are just creatures that mimic other creatures. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how we learned to speak since we were babies.
Right.
We didn't have this already like inputted in our minds. We learned to speak the language that were spoken, what the words mean and how they mean it based off what we watch our parents do, what we watch other kids do, our teachers. This is where we learn it from. And it doesn't stop when we're babies. It continues going as we grow into adults, when we go into our teenage years. Why do you think we're so rebellious? Because there's other teenagers around us acting so rebellious. Right? We get into social media now. How they act on social media is
you don't have an Instagram? Just like, let me go get an Instagram.
Right, like how you act on social media or how you watch others act on social media, think that's how they are in real life. So you start taking that mindset of how they're speaking and you start bringing that out into the real world, and your beliefs, your opinions are so shaped by all of that input
by a false narrative.
And what's crazy is they say, like, in terms of learning, so when you learn something, they say it becomes like, I don't even know the numbers, maybe 10 times more powerful, whatever. It becomes more effective. You will actually learn something better if you speak it and teach it to someone. So when you think of that and it comes to, let's just look at the basic part of it of just what you believe in, it becomes more powerful in your mind, that belief, when you actually speak it out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think that's why you need to be careful in what you're speaking out as your beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're not all the way confident that that's your beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not all the way confident on that and you're speaking out someone else's beliefs that you're not even all the way confident on, that's dangerous.
It is. It is. On others' beliefs, on your emotions. Right. I know, like, I can guarantee you, if you were to just sit here and constantly speak to yourself, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. You could be so happy and you just keep repeating that. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. That neurolinguistic programming, it'll go into your brain. Your brain will find instances of when you were sad or why you should be sad or what could happen and make you sad. And you will therefore then feel sad.
That's true.
Versus you saying, I'm so happy, I'm so grateful, I'm so joyous, I'm so blessed, I am favored by the Lord, I am a child of the King. And speaking all those, why they talk about positive affirmations and stuff, that's great. But I'm talking more so on the aspect of that.
Targeted and detailed.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
that death and life is in the power of the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Proverbs, I think Proverbs 18. And so when we know that we can speak life over all of our situations,
right?
Over all of our,
instead of going to the negative,
right?
Try going to the positive,
right? Because it's easier to go to the negative.
It's so easy because you have so much practice.
Like imagine this. Like imagine you just spilled coffee all over your desk, got on your computer. What is like your first thing that you want to say? Like, man,
you want to say God. You know what I mean?
Man, you know what I'm saying?
You ready to cuss at? You ready to cuss at God?
You ready to be like, are you serious?
God dang it! You know what I mean?
Imagine this: you're late, you spill coffee,
mm-hmm.
your car doesn't start right away. There's traffic on the way to work. You get to work, your boss is mad at you. It's a Monday morning. You did not want to wake up. Your alarm even started late. You didn't get all the way dressed. Like, imagine all these situations. But if you were to just speak out, and in the midst of all of that, I am joyous. I am grateful.
I'm blessed to even just have a job. I'm blessed
to even have a job.
Right,
I'm blessed to have coffee to drink. I'm blessed to have clothes to put on.
I'm blessed that I can go
get
some towels, clean this up, and go get me another cup of coffee.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I can guarantee your mindset will change. Because I know that's happened in my own personal life.
We all got to work on that.
We all got to work on that.
Every single one of us. And I think, again,
right.
like what we were talking about last week, right? On I am who I am, right?
Oh, right.
And how important the two words I am is.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you go back into the Bible, I am literally means it's a reference that I am God.
Yeah. To God.
Right?
That's all that he described himself.
That's all he describes himself
He is so magnificent. He could not even put who he is into words that we could understand.
That we would understand, right? So when we say I am, insert adjective, you're calling on God.
The power of God. Yeah, we
are.
You're
calling on the power of God. And that's why those affirmations are so risky. You got to make sure what you are affirming into yourself and what you are speaking into yourself is exactly what you want, because you are calling on the power of God to bestow whatever you're about to say next after that.
That's true. Like, when finances are rough, saying things like, I am broke right now.
God says, okay, you called me. I'm here. You called me.
You get a little twinge in your throat. I'm sick.
Boom.
Right.
You keep asking for it.
Life happens.
Right.
Man, I'm stressed.
We had to pause on that one. Like, what did I say this morning?
Well, you know what's crazy though, too? Because I come to think about in Genesis, when this whole universe was created, when God created everything, like in the beginning, God spoke. How he created life, y'all, was him opening his mouth to speak. And if we are created in his image, when we speak, we are creating life, or we are creating death, like in what it says in Proverbs.
Yeah.
And it's not just in affirmations either. It's just how we speak to others, how we speak about others, how we speak to ourselves, really, too, in the affirmations, but just how we speak about situations. Are we gossiping? Are we putting death on other people when we talk about them? Or are we trying to instill life and prayer and blessing over them when we talk about them?
Right.
Right.
Man, I think it's still, too, it also is how you speak about your spouse. I think that's important.
That too.
Are you speaking what you want out of your spouse? Or are you speaking what you don't want?
Yeah. Okay. So you guys, we've been doing a challenge. We just started it. I think it's been a week now, maybe 4 days. I don't know. Time kind of just flies by.
For the whole challenge, it's probably been about a week.
A week. Okay. So
4 days ago.
We started a challenge initially. I'll get into the spouse part, but we started this challenge initially on working on our cussing, because we sat down and we were just like, we cuss a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like every other word, we're cussing. Like every sentence had a cuss word.
When I was growing up, it was a sport in our household.
Like that's just like, it was like, okay, it's a normal thing to do. Everyone does it.
Yeah, my mom will probably kill it.
But it's not that it was that cussing is super bad or anything, but it's just that we needed to really focus on what was even coming out of our mouth. I remember, okay, so we started this challenge, right? The challenge was, if you cuss, I mean, both of us, we really hate doing planks. So we would have to do like a high plank down to like a low plank, which is down on your forearms. And that would be considered 1. So for every cuss word we said, we had to do 5 of those. So 5 like high to lows, 5 of those. On our first day, it was so difficult to just watch what you said, because you're so used to just saying the words that you say on a daily basis, right? You're just so used to saying it. You're so used to explaining things the way that you explain things. You're so used to describing things and talking about things that it was just so difficult. Like the first day we had to do like 20, 30, I think it was upwards near 40 for Roman.
Yeah, I was at 35, but I refused to do the last 5.
Yeah. And
I woke up with sore abs the next day.
Dude, it's a workout.
I woke up with sore abs the next day.
Jeez, yeah.
Maybe I need to work on that. 30 planks shouldn't do that.
I know. So we worked on that, but not even kidding, like within 3-4 days, we had it on lock. Like on the 5th day, we weren't doing any planks. So, the next week we decided on a new challenge, and now it's been a few days on this new challenge where we are working on having more of intentional thought life and spoken word prayer life over our spouse.
Over to each other.
Right. So whenever one of us is overly critical in a way that's not constructive. So you're being mean. Let's just say that. You are just being mean to this
and
person. And you know you're being mean. If you have to question it, you know you're being mean. Like, that was mean.
Right.
Then we have to do 5 of those planks. Or if we name call them, like, oh my gosh, you're being lazy or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just easy to treat your spouse that way too, because you're so comfortable with them. So we said, let's get more intentional about this. After 6 years of being together, we have never once thought of being intentional of the way we spoke to each other. It's easy in the beginning when you're dating. You're like,
in love,
I gotta be careful, you know.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute. She's so cute. You know,
don't want to show him I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, but then the years go by, you just get so comfortable with this person that you forget to care for them, really.
And be thoughtful.
Yeah. And you put your own emotions and your own feelings over the
person that you're with,
the self-image of that person. Like, you will be so mean to them because you are so hurt with your emotions, or you're really overwhelmed with feelings, that you'll treat them however you want to treat them, which is really unkind to them.
Right. And not saying that your feelings are not valid.
No.
But it's you sow what you reap. If you want love, why don't you sow love?
Yeah.
If you want respect, why don't you sow respect?
Right.
If you want thoughtfulness, why don't you sow thoughtfulness into your marriage, into your spouse, into your kids, into your friends? If you are not getting these things that you want in your life,
you're probably not sowing them.
You gotta check yourself.
It's true. I know for me, obviously, I've talked a little bit about being a big people pleaser. It's because I've always wanted the approval, and really not even that, going further deep into it, I just wanted to be loved by other people.
Right.
And when I started actually working on sowing love into others, like telling them I care about them without them ever having to say anything to me, instead of trying to like look super good or look super cool for them to give me, I guess, quote unquote, love that I was looking for, I just started giving them my own love. And I would send them messages throughout the day, or I would, if I'm feeling down, like even just reaching out to you and saying like, hey, I love you. Like, I hope you're having a great day. And then when I would end up receiving that love back, and I was getting what I wanted back because I was sowing in on the front end.
Right.
So it is true. You do reap what you sow.
What you put out into the world is what you get.
That's true. So same thing, you know, when we're talking about how you're speaking, what you put out into that world, what you speak out is what will come right back to you.
Every time.
If you find yourself with people always being mean to you, like, have you ever thought that maybe you're being really mean? Maybe if it's not even to other people, but to someone in your life, or you just speak really negatively.
And that energy is just being reverberated right back to you.
Yeah.
Because energy is never destroyed. It's only transferred.
That's true. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred.
So all the energy to ever exist in the world is already here.
Yeah. It just moves.
It's just
always moving. Yeah.
So what energy are you sending towards another person? What energy are you sending towards your spouse? What energy are you sending towards your mom, your dad, your kids, your sister, your friends,
strangers that you meet?
They say that,
you know, the Starbucks barista, like, how are you treating them?
How are you treating everybody that comes into? Well, I can't be perfect. We're not asking that.
No. And God isn't asking that of you either.
No.
But he does talk about, it's all over the Bible about like working hard. You have to work hard.
You got to
enjoy the fruits of your labor, right?
When you rest, you rest.
And it isn't necessarily just in a job, though that is one thing, obviously, like working hard to create your wealth. But
it's like the parable of the talents.
Right? Of talents, too.
The parable of the talents.
Yeah.
It's just that God wants you to be a hard-working steward of what he's given you.
Yes.
He doesn't want you to just hold on to it.
Yes.
And just sit on it.
And that's so true. And then he's given us a voice. He's given us physical health. He's given us a mind that can think and innovate and create and problem solve. So if he's given all of this to us, that is something that he wants us to use
and multiply.
Not to just let it sit up in you. He didn't want that to happen.
Nope.
No.
So if you are out there and you are not using the gifts that God has given you right now, I would heavily implore you guys to stop doing that and like
go for it. Kind of like what we were
Like
talking
we were
about
talking about in
last
the first
week,
episode.
just to go for
To
it
go
already.
for it, because God has given you these talents
Right.
that He wants, and a lot of people look at that parable
Mm-hmm.
as a money thing, which totally I 100% agree.
Yeah.
That also applies
Make your
to
money
it
work
as well.
for you,
Make your
for
money
sure.
work for you.
Mhm.
Multiply your money.
Mm-hmm.
Multiply what God has given you.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it also works on your talents. So
Yeah.
whatever you have down in you that you're like, man, I'm a better nurse than I am a drummer. You know what I mean? Or I'm a better, being a teacher is safer than starting that business. But it's just like, but you're talented at graphic design. Like, have you heard your voice? You know what I mean? Like, get on a mic. Like, you can sing, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be an easy path because it's your gift. It just means that you just got to learn how to use the talents that God gave you to multiply not only yourself, but His self, but
Mhm.
Him, right?
A lot of times too, it's just you got to create that wealth, because sometimes you won't even have the time to pursue a lot of those talents that were gifted to you. Kind of like I'm just thinking back right now to what Maul was talking about, right? The 9 to 5 millionaire.
Jamal King.
Jamal King, he's great, but he was just talking about, like, obviously creating that successful lifestyle. And I kind of just was thinking here while you were talking about it, that when it comes to a lot of like your talents and stuff and being able to give more of it, I think a lot of people are just so tied down to trying to survive and make things happen for them that it doesn't even feel possible to utilize their talents
Right.
for good use. You know what I'm saying? Like in our own situation, for just us talking on this podcast, and I know you have a lot of wisdom, you're really good at speaking and you pursuing ministry as well, like huge talent in your speaking ability, right? But I think it had to come down to figuring out how to handle other ways of survival for you to pursue kind of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if I'm making sense or where this thought's going, but that's just like something that's clicking in there for me, that it's like you got to go and make wealth for yourself so you can also use your talents. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't even know if I'm making sense.
I get what you're saying.
We can cut that part.
No,
but
I get what you're saying. But I think it's a mindset thing. Man.
Mhm.
It is a mindset thing to really go after, I feel, what God has put on your heart. Right? So, I mean, it's through the entire Holy Bible. God used a lot of people that were reluctant to be used.
True.
And they had talents in certain areas that they didn't even know they had talents in, or they did,
True.
and they
That's
didn't know
true.
that was going to be used for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
But God has to knock you out of that paradigm that you're in right now, that you need to survive.
Right. I think it reminds me of that story that we were talking about last week, right?
Mhm.
When God called on to Moses to do great big things that he had for Moses, and Moses came out and spoke immediately with excuses, and he was already speaking failure upon himself,
Mhm.
and God had to check him. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, oh, I'm not a good
Mhm.
speaker. Well, I'm going to send you Aaron. He's like one of the best speakers that you know. He's like one of your best friends, and he speaks so well.
And I think that's where it comes down to in that famous Bible verse, I can do all things through Christ who lives in me.
Mm-hmm.
You can do all things. All things. But you can't do it on your own.
Nope. So you just got to make sure that it's God's word that you're living off of.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to get on top of knowing my Bible verses, but it says it in a Bible verse that man will not survive on bread and water alone, but on my word.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have his word, you can survive anything, but God needs to come down and knock you off of that paradigm that you're in right now that makes you think that you're not good enough, or you're not prepared enough, or I need to pay my rent first before I can pursue my dream.
Yeah.
But you don't know what he's putting together for you on the other end.
Exactly. And it reminds me of something that I've read in I think, Switch On Your Brain. And she was talking about the strongholds that are on your life. Because we aren't fighting flesh and blood, but things that we can't see, right? Like a lot of these emotions in us that we can't see, like depression and anxiety,
forces unseen,
addictions, you know what I mean? A lot of our hurts, a lot of our bad habits, a lot of our hang-ups.
Hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Shout out, Celebrate Recovery.
So back to what I was saying, in Switch On Your Brain, she talks about that we were given already the armor to fight off all of these strongholds. And the armor, like our sword, our axe, our shield, our body armor, weapons. Is the word. That's how powerful word is. So when, like we were talking about in the last episode, when Jesus was even tempted, he spoke out word to fight off the devil. So when we are going through things, and I think that's why it's important knowing biblical truth and the word, is that when we are going through stuff, we can have word to speak out over our own life,
right,
to help us overcome that.
To fight these demons.
Instead of speaking already and agreeing with them. You're right. I am depressed. I am suffering from anxiety. I am always stressed. I am broke. Whatever it is, like there's always biblical truth to help back that up. Right? Or like, I can't do it. And you can just say, well, God said I can do all things in Christ who lives in me. Or whenever anything happens, like you can fight that off. Right. And I think that's just,
if you know the words.
Yeah. And it's just important to know what words we allow to come out of our mouth when we are going through things.
Yep. Because for me personally, I think anxiety is a demon. Depression is a demon. Sadness is demonic. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Those are demons.
Right. Like we were talking about before, remember how the devil cannot create, he can only manipulate. And these feelings are actually good feelings that he's just turned and twisted. Like anxiety is just a twist on excitement. Right? Depression
is a twist on reminiscence.
On being able to look back and see how things were good.
And depression is looking back and seeing how things are bad.
Same thing, right? Faith, fear.
Yeah.
Faith is in hopes for things that will turn out well, and fear is you putting your hopes in things that will turn out bad.
Right. Because he's not a creator. He's
a manipulator. So it's the same thing when it comes to the word. You got to know what word is true and what has been manipulated in your life. What you allow to get manipulated in your life.
Or depression is twisted and tweaked for mourning.
Which is a normal emotion. We just learned about this. We were talking about this in church, right?
Good. Mourning is a good
God
thing.
blesses those who mourn, for they will be comforted.
Yep. Because mourning brings comfort, but depression brings what? Uncomfortability.
Loneliness. Because what's really opposite from you being comforted by something is you being alone and deserted. And it's true.
We just had a breakthrough, y'all.
It's true.
We just had a breakthrough.
So again, it's just, you got to be mindful and you have to be cautious. And it's something that you have to be so intentional and work at every single minute of the day. Because, I mean, we go through hundreds of thousands of thoughts on a daily basis. We make so many decisions throughout the day, consciously or even unconsciously, on like how you move your hand or, whatever, if you blink or not, So
it's a full-time job.
It is a full-time job on having to just learn to capture your thoughts. But not only that, capture what decides to come out of your mouth based off what thoughts are in your head.
Right. I think that's so good. So, man.
Yes.
We rolling, baby.
It is. But
episode
3 coming out next Tuesday. We do have our TikTok. I know on the last episode we didn't have our TikTok.
We have it now.
So check us out at the Lookup Pod.
We will be on YouTube.
We are on YouTube. Same thing. The Lookup Pod.
People, the Lookup Pod.
And on Instagram, follow us at the Lookup Pod. Stay up to date with us. But we thank you so much for listening. And again, we wanted to end it on why we started this whole this whole series was really based off of one verse and one verse alone.
Right.
Psalms 121, verse 1 through 2. You want to say it, babe?
I don't know it off the top of my head, so you got to say it.
Love the honesty. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. Where does my help come from? You want to finish?
The maker of heaven and earth. Baby.
Yes, there we go.
You already know what it is.
That's
Y'all
it.
saw me thinking a little bit there.
Whenever you are looking up and seeing your problems, always remember where your help will come from.
It comes from the maker of heaven and earth.
Amen. So thank you, everybody. We will see you on the next one.